Hey, college wrestling fans, it's JT1Wrestle here. We have got a great guest today, the head coach of the women's program at Baker University. Please welcome to the show, Kit Harris.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, Coach Harris, the first thing I want to ask you about today is last year you guys graduated probably, if not your best wrestler of all time, one of them anyway, Catherine Heath, a five-time national qualifier, a two-time All-American, a four-time academic All-American. Talk about what she meant to your program and the example that she left for future Wildcats in the future.
Well, yeah, you just said it. The example she set is really her lasting legacy, really. I'm really fortunate as I came in to have her kind of leading the way, modeling how to do it, how to go about it. And I always kind of came up with a phrase as I was watching her go about how she did things. Serious wrestlers get serious results. And that's how she approached things. And she's a very good person. Her character, she's a lot of fun to be around. But when it came to training and competing and discipline, she's very focused. And our younger girls, we had 33 freshmen last year, and they all got to see her and watch her do things how she did them. And she won a lot, but she earned it. She earned it with work, consistent work, daily work, extra work was a big thing with her. She always put in extra, never just did the regular amount. She always put in extra. And so the example she set is carrying on even now. She's still helping us. She's finishing her grad degree and helping us coach, and she's still a presence in our program and always will be.
Speaking of the success you guys have had, you guys returned four of your five national qualifiers from last season. Um, Janelle Avila leading the way as a two-time All-American. She finished third last year in the nation, and she has a rare opportunity this year to join Kaylin Albrecht as the second Wildcat to ever be a national champion. Talk about her potential.
Oh, she absolutely can do it. She's real driven, real focused, real competitive. She wants to be successful, be at the top. That's really her only goal is that's the one thing she wants. And she also is an example with how to compete. She's very knowledgeable at wrestling, has really strong hands, moves her feet really well, and she can do pretty much anything. We do clinics or off seasons. She's a lead clinician. She knows so much. She can teach so much. She knows so much about the sport. Been around it all of her life. Her family, her brothers, her dad, just a huge wrestling family, and she just has absorbed that knowledge from a young age. But I'd love to see her finish on top because she deserves it, and she wants to make it happen, and she's ready for a big year.
Now you returned some other qualifiers too: Nevaeh Wardlow, Jade Martin, Kylie Robledo. Talk about these girls and the expectations you have for them this season.
Yeah, they're ready also. That experience is great for them. They're close. They left the tournament, not satisfied, and that hunger is carried over into the season and our preseason. It's obvious. You can tell the way they are getting after it from day one. That's just, you can tell they want to be where they want to be. We also had some girls who are very close to being national qualifiers, had wins over girls at the national tournament. So we had quite a few that are right there knocking on the door. But yeah, Robledo and Wardlow and Jade are leaders in our room with the role model they are on the mat and practicing and training and just also the kind of people they are and they're ready to use that experience last year to have a great year. I'm very optimistic about them.
Speaking about your optimism, for the last couple of seasons and this season as well, you guys compete at the Soldier Salute in Coralville, Iowa, where there are a ton of Division I schools that will be competing there. What does it mean to you to have your girls go up against these D1 opponents?
I mean, it's great competition. It's a great way to see where you're at. I always feel like if you're just winning over and over, you're not learning a lot. You got to face those challenges, take some losses to see what you need to improve on. Pretty much any open we go to, there's a lot of the top NCAA schools in the country at those tournaments, and we see that competition a lot. Missouri Valley Open is an example of another really tough tournament that's just right down the road here, a couple hours away, that attracts the top teams from all across the country. And it's good to wrestle them. I think it's good to see you're at, be forced to wrestle the best. And when you do that, you can't help but come away from that experience, having learned a lot and have a lot of things to work on.
Uh, this year you guys will be the national tournament's practically in your backyard. It's in Park City, Kansas. I think about a little less or a little bit more than a 2 hour drive from Baldwin City. Having the nationals close by, do you see that as an advantage?
Oh yeah, it's great. Our fans, our parents can be there. Our team members can be there. A lot of the traveling. Um, things that go along with, traveling, whether you're flying or long bus rides or hotel rooms. We don't have as much of that to deal with. We can practice in our home wrestling room a little bit more before we have to even get on the road. And it's a short drive. We're not spending a lot of time in a vehicle traveling. We can pretty much be here, do our training, and then get on the road, go there, and then be there and a lot easier and a lot closer for we have so many wrestlers from this area: Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa. We even got Arkansas girls in our roster now, and just all within 4 or 5 hour drive of Park City. And it's a great arena. Kansas is a great wrestling state. A lot of good support for it, so I like having it close by.
You guys held a camp here little over a week ago or right around there. You don't see a lot of women's wrestling camps. So I'd like to know how that went and the success of that.
Well, we have a prospect clinic actually coming up in November 15th.
Oh, it's
Um,
November. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
I thought
coming
it
up.
was in
That's all right.
October.
Yeah, we had a girls' camp this past summer, our second year of doing that. We had a prospect clinic last year, about this time of year. A lot of success, but yeah, girls only. And our team members lead it, coach at it. They're the teachers of it, the instructors, and they do a phenomenal job with that. And I think it's great for young girls to see college level girls teaching them. They just are very good at it, and that's kind of their role models. And girls wrestling has just absolutely exploded all across the country. I think it's one of the coolest things in all of
Same
sports
here.
in the last decade or so. Once states sanction, it blows up. And I think we're at 40, close to maybe 45 states almost with official sanctioning, somewhere around there, if not very close to it. And we're going to be probably adding the last few, hopefully in the next, 5, 7 years. But and girls like Fargo every summer gets better and bigger and tougher and more competitive, and the quality because girls at a young age now can do stuff and in every area all across the country. They can go to camps and clinics, and I think it's absolutely given a huge spark to the sport, especially on the girl side. So we like hosting that stuff. That's our way of giving back and providing that kind of experience for the younger girl wrestlers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that. Just being an aficionado and an historian of the sport, you go back to the late 80s, around 1987, 1988. That's when we started seeing women's wrestling at the World Championships. And just kind of looking at it back then and seeing it from that standpoint, you're kind of sit down and you kind of wonder why did it take as long as it did to finally start getting it into high schools and into colleges. Like I've talked with other people about this before too, coaches and female wrestlers, so on and so forth. Um, it's like we didn't realize what was already there, I think, in a way. Um, like when I was a little kid, you would see all the way up through high school actually. You would see the occasional girl out for wrestling, right? You go to a tournament and then you watch everybody wrestle and it's like, oh, there's two or three girls in the bracket, that, pretty much anywhere you went. And I think the thought is that they didn't have the interest, and I always argued for the longest time if they were competing against themselves,
Mhm.
this would blow up in places like Iowa, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kansas, where wrestling is already popular. And much to my surprise, the first place it blew up was Texas.
Mhm.
I never saw that coming in a million years. But, I guess I'm just rambling right now. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm glad we finally got it. I think it could have been, I think they should have started it back in the early 90s, and I think it would be, phenomenally huge. And not to get into a can of worms here, but I think if we would have started this, you know, 35, 40 years ago, we probably wouldn't have dealt with as many Title IX issues as we have over the last 40 years, my opinion. Um, Sorry to rant on there real quick, but you brought up a
Yeah,
topic and I was like, I
yeah,
gotta say something about this.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
so I want to end this conversation today by switching gears on you here a little bit because I found out that you and I both know um uh, some guys that I went to college with. So when I was going to college, on the wrestling program where I went, there were two kids on the team, and they were two of my absolute favorite guys. I've tried keeping up with both of them over the years. I lost track of the one. The other one I've talked to a handful of times over the last 20 years or so. We even went out to dinner one day when we found out we were in the same place at the same time. But I'm talking about Seth and Adam Halford. And Lord knows how many stories I got about these guys because they were two of the best guys I ever knew. But eccentric, I think, is a fair word to say about them. I also knew their dad. Their dad was a great guy too. Got to meet him two or three times when I was going to college. Tell me any great stories you would have about Seth or Adam Halford.
Oh, those two guys are awesome. That family is hilarious. You can't hang around them for 5 minutes without smiling and laughing. They're a lot of fun. Also, very passionate about whatever it is they're doing, and they care a lot about things. Their work ethic, their character, and morals really high. I love those guys. I once I had Seth Halford do the Dan Hodge. It's at a school assembly to promote a duel that night. I had him crush an apple in his hand. He was insanely strong. And so I said, Seth, can you do this? And he said, yeah. So I gave him an apple at a school assembly to promote the duel that night. He did it. He crushed that apple, which very few people could probably do something like that. But yeah, Seth was insanely strong to where he was unenjoyable to wrestle against. And but great people, so much they cared about the sport a lot. Great role models for our program then. Their dad helped coach the youth. All these kids came into the program. Their dad is a big part of that. And then the whole family, all of the kids, even their sister was one of our managers, and she was very fun and hilarious as well. They just put so much heart and energy into everything they do, and so they're a blast. And the Joel, Paul, Seth, Adam, Luke, they all were just a big part of Baldwin High School, football, wrestling, you name it, for a long stretch of time.
Yeah, I know I sure enjoyed those guys, and I had to bring them up to you because I figured that, since they're two of my favorite memories of that time in my life, I figured they were probably some good memories of yours as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Every camp, clinic, trip, Team Kansas stuff, they were a part of it and a big part of it. And we're also great role models in the sport as far as helping younger kids and youth. I called on them when I had a clinic and needed some people helping to teach at it or something like that. They were great at that as well. Never said no, always found time for it. Amazing people.
Well, Coach Harris, I really want to thank you for being a part of JT1 Wrestle today. It's been an honor and a privilege having you on. Um, I might see you guys, I guess, at the Soldier Salute if the schedules match up and I am able to attend it this year. Wish you the best of luck in the rest of 2025, 2026.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
You bet.